Hello, my friends in YouTube. How are you guys doing tonight? My name is RODGON. I am an artist. I am a designer. I am an illustrator. I am your teacher tonight. And I wanted to show you guys a really cool way to be able to learn how to draw faces. Guys, a lot of people struggle with faces, and a lot of people struggle with knowing how and where to place certain objects and elements of the face. And some of them are easy to find, some of them aren't. And I want to make it easier for all of you to be able to learn how to do that so that you may be able to be creative a little bit easier. I don't expect many people to be on live, but if some people do, make sure to hit the little like button, stuff like that, so that other people get a chance to see. The more you guys hit that little button, the more you guys subscribe, the easier it is for me to be able to make this content. So make sure to keep that in mind. So let's begin. I was teaching a class earlier today, and I was explaining to people how to draw the face from a simple box and how to learn to create depth and change the angles of things and stuff like that. So I'm going to walk you guys through this little simple step process. And I'm not going to use these, I'm just going to draw them as I go so I can show you guys how easy it is. And we will begin our lesson by understanding that we don't have to draw the entire head at first. Okay? The entirety of the head is a very complex system. The entirety of the head has a bunch of peaks and valleys and a bunch of little things that make your head look a little bit distorted, including your teeth, your jaw structure, your chin, and everything from your temples to your ears and all that stuff. So this is a very complex system to learn how to do. Now, it's not impossible to just pick it up and learn how to do it and be able to draw majestic, awesome things if you have natural talent and you have always drawn and you have that eye of like the perfect vision. I never had that. So I had to come up with ways to be able to do it differently. And my brain works with really simple concepts. So I began to break it down in a way that made sense to me, and this is how I do it. Let's begin our lesson by just drawing a simple box. Everybody can draw a box. Everybody can draw a box. It doesn't matter if it's a little squish box or if it's a little tall box. Don't worry about it too much, okay? It works with any box that you can draw. Within that box, you can just split it into 4. Again, it's not really gonna matter too much. Try to keep it even if you want a normal head. But if you have variations, it's not gonna change the output. It's gonna just be a different type of head. Now, once we get to this point, this is a very easy spacing for your eye sockets, which is a little hole in your skull. By drawing a circle, it leaves you a little triangle in the middle. The little triangle is going to be where your nose sits. This becomes your cheek. This is your cheekbone now. This is your temple. That's gonna have your eyebrow. This is going to be the space where your nose goes. And then within this area, you get a chance to draw your eyes. Your eyes fall at the top of where that triangle, and it becomes like a little hourglass right there. But right there, that is where the middle of your eyeball is. Your eyelids might change the, how it looks, but the eyeball itself sits around there. Have your eyebrows, and then you follow that little triangle down to come up with your teeth. When you have your teeth, all you have to do is draw a mouth around it. And then you already have your cheekbones and your chin, so all you do is connect your cheekbone to your chin, creating your jaw. So being able to find all those elements becomes relatively simple if you just draw a box, an hourglass, 2 circles, and a teardrop. You can implement any sort of stylization you want inside of these. And if you change the size of any of those elements, you just come up with a very different character. Now, this is very fun and simple, right? Because it's only the front view. If you wanted to draw the side view, Rod, what if you wanted to draw 3/4? Well, check it out. Check this out. You guys are gonna love this. Let me finish by drawing some ears, okay? If we take the same width of the head, right, in general, and we take this box, but we're going to make the box a little smaller. Now, if I want this side, I'm gonna draw a circle that touches the same height as the box. I'm gonna divide this in 4. I'm gonna draw my circles and my teardrop. Boom. Connect it to my ear. My ear is gonna fall around halfway down that circle. Connect it. I have myself my head in 3/4. By adding that little circle, I can also do it on the side right here and create a little bit of depth that creates my temples. My ear will grow from the bottom of that circle or that box and just grow up. Your eyebrows, your temple, the top of that is going to lead with your eyes, and then that's roughly where your eyes are going to go. Your mouth space, your chin, and then from there you go down onto your neck, collarbone, and you go on to the rest of your body. Hi! How to draw 3/4 pyramid, low angle, what? Low pyramid? I don't know what you mean by that. This version of your head drawing method really helped me out. Thank you so much. Hey! Hi, Rod. It's easy to draw the deltoids, but I'm unable to draw the rest of the arm. Is it a challenge to draw an arm turned upwards? No, check it out. Okay, so you want to draw somebody with their arms raising up. So let's draw a rib cage, a little egg. We'll draw a little circle and our collarbone. If we were going to have our arms raised up, our collarbones have 2 different modes. Our collarbone has our normal mode, which represents our arms down or our arms up to around here. Okay? Up until there, the collarbone stays about like that. Let's draw a little bit of the rest of the body so you guys know what I'm drawing. So your collarbone is that little bone right here that leads from your body in the middle of the rib cage all the way to the edge of where your shoulder's gonna lay. So that is the muscle structure, and this is how you layer it. Shoulder, pectoral, bicep, back muscles, body. And that's how you end up with all those little layers. Then from there, we have our elbow, our bicep, our tricep, our forearm, wrapping around our bicep into our bone structure, into our hand. So now the deltoids, I don't know which ones are the deltoids, or the ones in the back. So let's see, if we're drawing this from the back, it's the exact same shape. It doesn't change shapes because it's the front or the back. It's just the same egg. If we go back down the egg, we can draw 2 little side circles, and we have ourselves our hip bones from behind. Now, if we go up and we draw the same circle in that same compass, we're just looking at it from behind now. So I'm not going to concern myself with the front of that circle. This is the edge. This is where my head would go up and where my back of my ears would be. Right? So now, like I said, if this collarbone is going to be looking up, you're going to have to move that compass up. And then the arm goes up with it. Okay? So understanding that makes it really simple to be able to move your arm up or down. Your collarbone only has the normal mode or going up mode. and your head is in the middle. Yay! Yay! Okay, the end of these is kind of like a little arrow that points your arm in that direction. Brr. Okay, so that's a very easy way to do it. So when you are drawing your arms up from the back, it's the same thing. The front is going to be pointing up, and then the back is going to just adjust to that. You're going to have your arm going up, and then your arm connects back to your rib cage. Now, your shoulder in the back is going to create like this little W in the back because of your little like wingy parts. That's what I call it. I don't know exactly like what that muscle is, but it comes from your shoulder down, it wraps around, and it creates a little bit of a pocket. Then your back muscles come in and they go like a little thong in the middle of your butt. Your spine is going to have a little bit of a space because you don't have muscle on your spine. So all the muscles here curve in, and then you have your lats that connect to where your booty goes. So that's like the simplified way of seeing things. Then from there, you have your legs that go down. And then you have your calf muscle that goes into your thigh. And then your bone goes down. And then, ta-da, something like that. And when you're putting a little bit more detail, you have your shoulders up. So this would pinch. Then it would go into the back of the head, into the cranium. The ears would be right there. This would be the back hairline. Okay. Then you would have the top 7th vertebrae is the connecting point of your spine with your rib cage. Right? That's the pivot point for your head. So if you change the direction of your head, it tends to be from that point, because that's the top of your spine. So you have to get used to that point. That point is your pivot for your head. So get used to that point, then your shoulders go around it, and then your spine has its own little like, gap in the middle. Then your shoulder and your arm come in right here into this little like W thingy. Your muscles would kind of wrap around like this, not completely certain yet. Have to like, okay, so it would be, yeah, it would be something like that. And then you have your lat muscles that come in, create a little bit of depth. They tuck into your butt. And you have the side of your butt, the bottom of your butt, and then your thighs and your calves and stuff like that. So, and then you have your hands. Like, wow, look at me. Say low angles. So if you want to draw this from a low angle, all you got to draw, remember we did it from a box. So we drew a box, we split it in 4, and we draw a little pin, blah, blah, and then we draw our width like that, right? And then we have a cranium. Well, if you want to draw a head like this, but at an angle, you take a box, and then you just draw the box in space at an angle. And then you have yourself the same thing, and you can draw characters up and any way you want. It's not incredibly hard to be able to do it this way, at least. And if you want like the superhero chin, just add it later. Right? So you can do that from any angle. Just learn how to draw a box in different angles. And you can draw your heads from any angle you want. see, maybe it wouldn't be so low, so it wouldn't be so angled. A big issue with a lot of people is that they focus so much on trying to get those like bottom of the chin things, you know, right here. You guys focus so hard on doing that and getting those little angles right, when most people don't even have this connection point. Most people's chins don't even close. So you guys are struggling for no reason to draw people looking up most of the time. All you gotta do is just not close this line and then add a little shadow most of the time. And then you get a very good representation of a lower angle. Change the ear direction and you're good. Show how to draw same animal face in 3 different shape language. Oh, okay. So yeah, well, let's do that with like a panda. That sounds cool. So let's draw all of them from a box. How about that? You're still gonna get the shape language you want, but so you wanted to draw what? A villain. Okay, a villain, a hero, and what? A friend or a friendly guy, I guess. Let's make it a cute little thing. Okay, so if we're gonna do the same thing, we're gonna split it up into 4. We're gonna draw our little snouts. And then if we wanted to make like a villain panda, I would probably make like the little shapes a little sharper. Right? Maybe like the ears would be like a little bit more angular, maybe like bit off or something. And the little tussles would probably be a little sharper. So if I drew a little panda with little things like that, it would kind of look like a villain. Right? So angles, sharp angles will make something look a little bit more dangerous. If you wanted a hero, you might want to have something really burly, somebody that looks really strong. So you would use little blocky shapes, right? You would enhance the shape of the character, create very sturdy looking shapes, and at the same time, you know, create like this feeling of like, you know, like solidity. So maybe a bigger mouth, bigger shapes, stuff like that. Right? So a little panda that was gonna have that would be something like that. Confident, big, like nose, big blockiness, and maybe make them a little bit bigger size-wise is gonna give you the feeling of somebody just being a little more heroic than just your average character. And then if you're going to go with friendly, you want something bubbly. You want characters that have a lot of cuteness. So keep all your angles super circular and like bubbly. And by doing that, you create an element of friendliness or, you know, passiveness. And it's gonna look a little bit more, a little bit less threatening, a little bit more cute. So that's how you would use shape language to draw 3 things. Can you teach me how to draw the elbow and the knees and how they bend? Okay, let's draw some arms. Okay, so if you're gonna be drawing an arm and you wanna bend it, you gotta be very careful as to how you learn this stuff. So let's start with an L. Let's just explain how an element like this bends, okay? Let's begin with an L, no crevices, no overlaps, no nothing. So if you had a straight line, right, to get from this to this, you need to find a midpoint. So once you find that midpoint, you can now proceed to moving your arm in different directions, right? But when it gets into a troublesome spot is when you start getting to these angles that you can't really do that. But this whole volume, if you see it as a whole, that's the problem. Start seeing one edge first and then fill in the rest. That's going to lead to you understanding that you're moving a mass. So you're moving this entire shape up when you have this and you have it in two different parts. One of them has to overlap the other from a pivot point. In this case, it's your elbow. If your elbow rotates up, it's not clothing, it doesn't compress. This volume overlaps. Your muscles wrap around each other in a manner that you can actually do that. Okay, so when you compress your arm all the way here, you have muscles that wrap around each other that do that. So when you're thinking of your arm, stop thinking about it like two cylinders or with a little ball joint, because that doesn't help you. What you have to learn to do is just this. Learn to draw a little line like an L and then two overlapping shapes. And learn how to draw your muscles inside of that. And learn how to differentiate how much depth to get by just changing the amount that you overlap them. You can do this with complicated things. You can do this for your fingers, your hands, your arms, your legs. That is more how your actual body works than doing it this way. Okay, how's it, Rod? I bought a couple of your books, so help. Woohoo! Thanks for making it so simple to follow. What book would you recommend to help with anatomy? Wait until I release my how to draw book or my big book of little tips. I'm going to release a really big book with all the little tips that I draw. I'm gonna just compile them into different sections like hands, fingers, and then all the tips will be all together, and then you guys can just like dissect it a little bit easier than the art block books, because the art block books are a little bit all scattered all over the place, right? They have a little bit of knowledge and they have like a little bit of like, the first two don't really have a theme, but I want to make them more like themed from this point on. These are great, really great examples. I'm feeling inspired to draw. Woohoo! Thank you, RODGON. Yay! Tips for rotating shapes. Okay, let's talk about how to rotate a shape and how to learn to do that stuff. Okay, let's take it back all the way to the beginning. I don't like teaching things from like an advanced level. I don't want you guys to like not know how to achieve this if you have never drawn before. I like this. That's what I really love. I love being able to teach something from scratch. Like, I imagine that you don't know how to draw anything at all. If you draw a circle and you practice drawing circles, you're gonna get really good at drawing circles. Once you learn how to draw circles, you can draw a circle inside of your circle, and you're gonna give yourself a little guideline. This becomes the front of your shape. This becomes the back of your shape. Once you have the ability to do that, if you draw another circle with another circle, you can connect those circles, and now you have a cylinder. Now, at some point, you're not even gonna need those circles. You're just gonna draw the little skinny circles and connect the edges, and now you have cylinders. When you learn to connect cylinders to each other, you get depth. If you learn to make them smaller and overlap your shapes, you get distance. You have the ability to move in space now by just moving and making your cylinders a little bigger. So whenever you are learning to draw your foreshortening and your like fingers going in and out of perspective and stuff like that, those are the exercises you gotta learn to do so that you may be able to move your fingers and your characters and your legs in any way you want. Okay? That is how you learn to do that. At first, it's gonna seem impossible to fit a lot of information within a space. Okay, that's gonna be your biggest concern when you're like starting out. How do you draw all this stuff within this area? It's impossible to draw all this detail within this space. I don't know how to draw forearm because when I draw forearms, I draw a little circle and I don't know how to draw all those muscles within that little space. That is going to be a really big concern with most people, right? That is most of the reason why a lot of people, like just simplify the living hell out of their muscles, because they get tired of not being able to draw the things inside of the space. But let me reassure you this, that it comes with understanding the things that you are drawing, right? And I mean that in the way that if you don't know the muscles that are connected to your bones, you're not gonna know why you have bumps and lumps and all that stuff. You're just not. It's gonna be really hard for you to understand that. If you don't know how your hand works and your bone structure for your hand, it's gonna be really hard for you to understand how to basically draw anything outside of just a very stylized hand. You gotta learn what's underneath sometimes, even if it's a very simple, rudimentary way, so that you can actually build upon it, okay? If you don't learn how to draw the very basic elements that build your body, it's going to be incredibly difficult to make it into a career. Remember, this is what you want to do, right? This is the stuff that you want to do for a living, right? Like you want to learn to draw things and create things and characters and environments and all that stuff. Most people want to do that, right? Most people want to do all that stuff for a living. They want to be a character designer. They want an environmental designer job. They want all that stuff. But how often are you spending your time doing all these things, right? Learning and studying, not like life drawing. No, not like going and just drawing naked people. Like that's not how you learn to do this stuff. It is nice and it's fun, right? But all this stuff is learned mostly from observation and studying your own mistakes, right? If you draw a leg and it looks really flat, and you can identify, this is why we need portfolio reviews sometimes, because sometimes we can't identify what we're doing wrong. And that's when we need the help of a professional. You know what, the one thing that pisses me off the most is when a professional just looks at your stuff and they're like, yeah, you're good. Instead of giving you any idea of how you can possibly improve. To me, it becomes very, very ugh. Whenever I go get portfolio reviews, that's why I just don't go do them. I stopped doing them because I didn't get any good feedback from them. So if you guys meet me at Lightbox Expo, if you guys go meet me, I'm gonna have a booth. If you guys come meet me, come get a portfolio review from me. Come get we'll set up like a whole thing like after hours and stuff. Like I'll just, tell everybody to go meet me somewhere and we can go eat and then we can all discuss your guys' portfolios. And we can all have a good, awesome evening of just learning from each other. And I can explain to you guys why you should, approach it certain ways. Now, are the art block books on Amazon? Yes, they are. Just look for RODGON the artist. I think they have sold enough that they actually populate my name on there. So yeah. How would you draw a leg walking forward with foreshortening? Okay, so check it out. You're gonna love this. Okay, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love me after today. So, in order to draw your legs coming forward or backwards, and we established that we just need circles, right, to be able to move up and down in space. Once we have a circle, we can make a circle bigger and we can connect the edges, and it looks like it's coming towards us. The more we do it, and the more we overlap them, the more it's going to come towards us. So how do we apply that to our legs? Well, our legs come out of two awesome magical holes called hip bones. Okay? These hip bones have a really awesome thing that happens at the top of the hip bone. If you connect them, they give you a belly button. If you draw a circle connecting both of them, it gives you width. So now you have depth to your body. And if you draw a circle up and down, it gives you your groin and it gives you your spine in the back. Well, these little hip bone holes are circles. You can identify your knee as a little circle. Let's just make a little straight cone and draw a really basic character, just that. A little circle for our ankle, a little circle for our knees. Okay? If I wanted to draw this coming for me, well, I need to move one of these circles, make it bigger, and then I need to make this one bigger. And then the foot, you want it walking, so let's make the bottom of the foot going that way. Connect the edges. And now the character looks like it's coming towards us. Now, let's do the opposite for the backside. We're gonna have a circle. This circle needs to be a little smaller. So let's make it a little smaller. Connect the edges. If this circle's smaller, this circle has to be equivalent to this one. So this one gets smaller and it gets connected. The bottom of the foot, being like a little circle or whatever. And now you have somebody that's looking and walking towards you. Whatever style you decide to draw on this, you know, if you want to give them clothing and stuff like that, that's going to change not much. It's just going to help emphasize it. By knowing what little lines to overlap, you can create things like muscles and hair and clothing as well, like socks and stuff like that. These lines right here are going to tell you which way your leg is going. So if you overlap this a little, that means that this thigh is forward. If you overlap it the other way, it looks like the thigh is going back. So just by doing that alone, you can generate a lot of depth. Thank you for all your help, RODGON. Yay, you're welcome, guys. Whoa, late night stream. It's like 10:30. Yeah, it's a little late. But I just felt like, you know, coming on here and then doing some stuff. So I'm gonna have a lot of coffee and then try to figure out like what, like, how to, actually, that's what I should talk about right now. There's like a basic construction like method that I want to like teach people how to create from scratch. And I wanted to just talk about it a little because I already wrote it down, it's already here. But I wanted to like explain it to other people and might as well just like try to run it by you guys, you know? Hey RODGON, I have trouble making sure my hands are the right size. They always seem to either too big or too small. Okay. I'll help. I love giving you guys tips and tricks. I love answering your guys' questions. I love it. So please, just keep them coming. Anyways, hands. Okay, so hands are very much misrepresented and like they are drawn very awkwardly most of the time. Most of the time, when people draw hands, they draw hands and they think that their forearm and their arm is separate from their hand. So they have like this hammer or like situation where the hand is much bigger than the actual structure that is connected to it. This would be the equivalent of drawing a bobblehead, but for a hand. Your actual arm, right? Your hand isn't much wider than your forearm. It really isn't. It's very much not much wider than your forearm at all. Your forearm and the palm of your hand are relatively the same width. How do you know that? Just look at your own hand. Take out your hand, tuck in your thumb, and look at that. This is pretty straight. This has a little bit of like a bumpy part, but that's mostly because the little squishy muscle right here that I'm squishing next to it. But in itself, it's not very much wider. So if we consider that as a first element, then we have one edge is going to have a finger, right? There's one finger coming on this side of our hand. That's just logic. And we decide to bring it back in to give it girth. And now we have one knuckle and one finger. Well, the other side of our hand also has a finger. This side is the thumb side, so we have a slightly longer finger. We bring it back in and we draw a little circle. Now we have a knuckle. That knuckle is now a circle. Now we can draw little circles and bring that finger anywhere we want. See what I mean? Once we find those little magical circles, it's easier to move the hand in space. Now the thumb is always going to be connected to the wrist. Now imagine that the bottom of your hand has a little cylinder or like a little oval. Your thumb is going to come from a little tiny circle from there, and you're going to expand, and that is how you get the width of your hand. So you have, again, the same width from your palm and your wrist, right? Your wrist will continue down this way. And then you're gonna have one finger come back in, another finger come back in. You're gonna have two more because you have a total of 4 digits. And then from this connecting point, you're gonna draw a little circle and you're gonna draw your thumb. From there, if it's the top of your hand, these little circles connect back here, and then that's how you get the little details. If it's on the bottom, you draw a muscle for your thumb, a muscle for your pinky, and this is the bottom already. These little balls are the bottom little squishy parts of your hand, okay? So that is essentially how you come up with all those little parts. I have trouble, and your hand should always be about the width of your wrist. It's like 1:30 in the morning for me. Oof, sorry, brother. But this will be on YouTube later, so. Hey, Rod, I was wondering if you knew how to animal kimono snouts on, what? How to animal kimono? I don't know what you're saying, dude. It doesn't make sense to me. Senor RODGON, nice to see ya. Nice to see you too, brother. Make sure to hit that little like button if there's a like button here. I don't know if they have like buttons on YouTube. But do whatever YouTube is, whatever you guys do on YouTube to like help me out, just do that. What up, RODGON? Found out about your channel last summer, and your channel has been big help for my art. Awesome! I like that. I like hearing that a lot. Yes. Rod is doing something right. And then that makes me feel like that Louis Armstrong guy, like with all the muscles, and he's like always like flexing. At first, it's gonna be hard for you to see all the details and all the overlapping lines and all that stuff becomes really hard at first. And mustaches, mustache. Why do you get like that when I'm trying to explain something to people? Do you not want me to share knowledge with the humans? I don't think Mustache wants you to like share like knowledge with you guys. Mustache is being selfish. And then like your fingers like. Just like knowing that, like if you just learn how to overlap lines, you're gonna improve your drawings quadrillion-fold really, really quickly. The singer. Wish I had TikTok to see you live more often. Thanks for uploading your sessions to YouTube. Mustache! Stop! Stop playing with that. Play with something softer. Okay. There you go. Go kill that suck. Okay. You inspire me a lot. Woohoo! Kimono is a Japanese art style. Animals, small snout, big eyes. Kimono, so small animal, Small, what, big snout? What did you say? Big eyes, small snout. So small snout, big eyes. Like a chibi character, pretty much. And mainly have trouble drawing animal snouts in general when it comes to certain angles. So animal snouts are very easy. They're really, really, really simple. Like if a human skull is very easy to move in space because, you know, you just draw a box in different angles, divide it into 4, draw a little circle and a teardrop, and draw a circle that matches the skull. You can draw angles really quickly, okay? So learning how to draw a human skull in space is not very difficult. Now, learning how to draw an animal skull, like in space, it's even easier because it's just a box. Whatever you draw here, draw a little triangle or whatever, and then decide a point for the end of your snout. You can draw a little cone or whatever size snout you have, and now you have the ability to draw them in different positions. Okay? It can be a fox, it could be an angle, it could be a cat, it could be a duck, it could be whatever you want. Okay? Because animals don't have chins, so it becomes incredibly simple to draw a bunch of different animals, and their necks are essentially glued to their bodies. So it's not like you're drawing a human neck where you have to learn how to taper it and stuff. So you're complicating it, you're thinking too much. You're trying to apply too much of a human like drawing style. Like you're trying to do this, right? And then like you have like a body and you're trying to draw like a human. That's not how animals are, right? Animals are more like little boxes. They don't have that connecting point like that, right? It's very rare and very, very rare that a lot of animals have like that sort of connection. So you're more likely to get a better result doing it just like a big 2-box. How's your dog? Oh, my dog's great. He's doing. Is that mustache? Of course, that's mustache. What are your best tips on drawing hair? Straight, curly. Okay, so if you're drawing hair, first you got to learn how to draw a head. So draw a box, draw a circle, and then split the box in half. Draw 2 little circles. Hourglass happens to happen exactly because you draw 2 circles. Draw a little teardrop, and now you have a human skull. You're gonna connect the ear to your chin, and you draw a little triangle right here, and then you have yourself your jaw. Now your hairline is going to be the important part if you're gonna draw hair. Your hairline is going to be in the top of the box that you initially drew, right? You're gonna split that one in half, and that's gonna be your hairline from there, and then you cut it off at your ear. So now all this area right here is your hairline. Okay, you can give yourself a little like sideburn and stuff like that. So from there, you can decide to give yourself a widow's peak, sideburns, anything you want like that. This is gonna wrap around your head like a hat. And then you said straight or curly hair. So hair is always gonna grow up and then gonna fall down, right? It's always gonna grow and then fall. It grows like grass. It grows up, it starts little, grows up, and it starts falling down because of gravity. Okay? Gravity will eventually make it be very, very, very much so like that. Now, okay? The longer it is, the closer it's gonna be to the scalp because the weight of it just holds it down. Instead of being really short and sticking up, it falls down. Now, curly hair is kind of like a spring. So it still does, and it still falls under the same premises of going up and then falling down. But you end up drawing a spring instead. Now, hair clusters differently if you have straight hair or curly hair. If you have straight hair, instead of drawing every individual hair going down, you draw one hair at the front, you match that in the back, and then you connect it like if it was a cylinder. you break up the pattern a little bit with little zigzags and you draw a couple lines to generate like that. If your hair is gonna go this way, then you do that, draw another one, match it, and then you have yourself a little bit of straight hair. If you have curly hair, you're gonna do the same thing, go up and down, but you're gonna curl it. And that's how you would draw curly or straight hair. What are your best tips? Okay, I would ask if you're ready for Inktober, but everything is already inky. I don't draw with pencil. I don't draw with pencil, so like it's already Inktober for me every day. Every day is Inktober for me. Okay, so let's see. What other tip do I want to share with you guys before I go? Let's see. Okay, so how about I teach you guys how to... Actually, I'll let you guys choose. I'll let you guys choose. I like letting you guys choose. What do you guys want to learn in the rest of this page? Like, we already learned how to draw faces. We already talked about how to draw arms a little bit better. We talked about why the arm interacts in a certain way. We talked about shape language and how you can use that in simple characters, and how to draw the human skull and animal skulls. Very, very simple, based on a box and a circle. So, pin up lips, that's super easy. It really is. You guys are gonna laugh at how easy it is to draw like big, luscious lips, okay? So, what are lips? Lips are a little opening that, let's draw human skull real fast, because we're talking about the human. So we have a basic human skull, we have our little teardrop, and this is where our mouth roughly is gonna be. This is our teeth line. The teardrop that we draw it's our teeth. It's not our mouth space, it's our teeth connected into our cheekbone. So if we take that into consideration, what is the mouth? The mouth is just, you know how like you have an eyeball and then the eyelids block a lot of the eyeball and then you only show a little bit of it? You know how that way, this looks really silly, but that is what happens in an eyeball, right? You have the whole eyeball, the actual organ, and then you have a little opening that opens and closes depending if your character is having their eyes open or closed. But the eyeball itself behind it doesn't really change in shape. So in this case, we're gonna do the same thing, but with the mouth. So you have your teeth line. You're gonna not necessarily have to draw their teeth, but you're just gonna draw a little opening that shows the teeth underneath. This is gonna help you identify how to draw these things a little bit better, okay? Because the moment that you know that you have this immovable thing in the bottom, if you go over that space, you already know where that negative space is supposed to be. So it's going to help you understand a little bit more of how to draw the mouth. Now, the mouth itself is just two lines. One long line that has two flat edges, a little bit. And then at the connecting point of those little edges, you're gonna intersect another line. You're gonna normally make the top one a little darker, and you do it a little darker to represent the light hitting it and then creating depth on the bottom of your lip. That's why you make it darker. Then the lip is the volume that goes up from there, right? So from these edges, flatten it out, like taper it in, and then draw the shape of whatever lip you want. If you want big, luscious lips, get big, luscious lip sizes. Draw it all nice, like wet or whatever, like moist. And then draw your teeth. Flat, curvy, flat. From that point, intersect the little line, create negative space, and you could just do it with color. You don't even need to draw a line. So it's really easy to draw them. You can draw that. Once you get used to that, like simple concept of just intersecting two lines, now you can change the size of them. You can open them up, get creative with the actual characters. You can make it into little M's. You can make it into any shape you want. Okay. When you're drawing them from the side, the same concept of the eyeball. When you're drawing a profile, you got to go from one side to the other, one side to the other, and then you think of the eyeball in the middle. With a mouth, you're going to have that little teardrop that we draw from our circle and our box and all that stuff. Okay? So you're going to have a little teardrop. You're going to have a triangle. The nose is going to come in that triangle. And then these are your teeth. So you just draw around your teeth. And you end up with the shape for your mouth. Can you draw one with a marble or a jawbreaker in the lips? Okay, in the lips. Okay, well, let's try that. So if we have a character that has a jawbreaker, so they would probably open up their mouth. Since the top of the mouth doesn't really move, we're not gonna move that up because you can't. You're gonna have the jawbreaker in the mouth, in between the lips. I'm gonna make the jawbreaker right here, and then his lips are going to have to deform a little. So his teeth is gonna wrap around for his bottom jaw. That's gonna have to be a little bit deformed and pushed that way. And then we're gonna have an opening. This is a funny pose. Let's see, it's gonna have to go this way, or do I wanna make it this way inside of the mouth? Inside of the mouth, yeah. And then the tongue would wrap around this way. A little bit of that would go this way. Probably the cheek would push up. And then let's detail it out. All right, so let's see. I gotta look at my lines. Okay, cool. So I want this to go like that. This is gonna be my teeth going out, my lip, my chin, my tongue going around that. Then my upper jaw is not gonna move. It's gonna be right there. Then from the back of my teeth, that would connect back over here. Our cheek would connect around our mouth out to the edge of our nose. Then this way, that's the jawbreaker, so we gotta color it or something. And then it would be lifting the cheek and creating a little bit of an overlap. Then this cheek would push up as well into, like, this is my like cheek, this would be my cheekbone that would push up into my eye. It would probably be painful, so let's draw it painfully, like, ooh. Something like that. That looks painful to him, though. Why? Why? Oh, man. I don't know if that's what you meant, but that was just funny. Oh, man. So yeah, it's been a fun day today. Today's been incredibly fun. I've jumped off on every single platform, and then you know what? Today has been a wonderful day because I heard back from someone that I like. Honestly, that's essentially it. I got to spend some time yesterday with someone I like, and that just uplifted me so much today. Like I got up and I've been so productive the entire day. Like I've been up, I cleaned, I like redecorated my entire apartment. I found things that I thought I lost. Like I lurked and I did all my laundry, all my dishes, everything. And it's just because I got to spend some time with someone that I like. You know, like I function differently than people. Like I need a muse. Like for me, like having someone that inspires me like mentally is the reason why I want to get up in the morning. So shit, I wish that I was like a job that I could like put like applications for. Honestly, I wish that that was the case. If I could just be like, I apply for my muse position, like I would fucking like put that post up in a second. But that's not how it works, you know, unfortunately. So yeah, it's so I got to spend a little bit of time with a girl I like, and that just made me like made my heart like explode with like wanting to do fun like awesome things, you know. But it's not meant to be. So not her at least. I don't think so. I don't think she wants anything like that. So the continued search continues. We wish you the best of luck finding your muse. Oh man, no, I think she has to find me, man. I honestly, I think she has to find me. I have such a hard time understanding my value in any sort of situation like that. That if the person isn't into me a little bit already, it becomes really hard for me to understand why anybody would even consider one to be with somebody like me. So it's easier for me and much easier if they find me. And it's not gonna happen because like women are not necessarily very forward with that sort of situation. So I just kind of go and I'm just like twiddling my thumbs and all that stuff most of the time. Yeah. Eventually someone like comes like connects with me and then they end up being either like just broken or they don't like want anything else other than something casual or something like that. That's essentially like the situation that ends up with happening with me. And then when I like them, it just like ends up like, oh well no, I don't want to blah, blah, blah. Like, so it just gets really boring, tiring sometimes. Yep. Until then, I'll just keep drawing and becoming awesome and famous and getting like all the accolades that I can possibly accumulate in my life and try everything and do everything. And eventually somebody will come. It's just nature. And I'm really liking drawing with the red pen though. The red pen and the ballpoint, like both the ballpoint pens are really, really cool together. Like it allows me to sketch with the whole just pen aspect, and it's really, really cool. Plus, it allows me to just add contrast real quick. Since I can't watch your lives on TikTok, I watch your vids here with my sketchbook. Woohoo! Awesome. That is the way that it should be. Knowledge should always be like accessible. And it should not be hard to find. It should not be hard to explain. It's hard to find people that are able to do it easy. It really is. It's not a very easy thing to find like an instructor that's going to teach you complicated things very simply, you know? It's not very common for people to also want to share their knowledge freely. It's unfortunate. But that's just the way that it is. You know, like I always struggled finding good resources for things and like knowing how and where to do things that like very difficult. And when I decided to start my YouTube channel, the biggest reason for doing it was to make people's lives easier through that. If you guys go back and like watch a bunch of my first initial videos, first of all, you guys will get like a glimpse of little like early RODGON. And he is nervous and he doesn't know what he's doing much. And you know, I was really trying to not like feel like an imposter for a very long time. And eventually, you know, like things just started resonating and I just started doing things that made sense to me, including teaching. And it just became a lot easier. And I stopped thinking of myself as like some person that didn't know what he was doing and just jumping on here and doing stupid videos, you know. Since hearts, even though we never know what life throws at us, glad you can hold up your chin up. I mean, what's the alternative? Being sad and depressed? You know, like you have the choice to always see things in a positive light, or you can choose to be all dreadful and think of yourself as like, oh no, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. I'll never be able to get over this. And if you start thinking like that, it's a very self-deprecating thing. It's kind of hard to get out of that stuff. You know, when you start thinking like that, it becomes really difficult to get out of it. So I highly suggest that you guys don't let yourselves fall within the traps of that. Just try to stay positive whenever you end up in a situation, even if the situation's shit. You know, just like think about it as positively as you can. Sometimes it's really hard to, but you know, do your best. I believe in you. I love that you make knowledge and explain knowledge like this for free. I always feel sad because I can't afford lessons and the uncertainty of it will always be worth my money. Yeah, that's why I do it. For people like you, man. The sole reason that I do all this is for people like you that want to learn, may not have the resources. And, you know, like I always just aim to try to help as much as I can. I grew up with not much. You know, like I grew up with a lot of uncertainty in my life. And like, you know, I didn't really know like even if we were gonna stay in the same like country, like any given like year, like maybe things went well and everything was great, or we had to move countries again, and we moved back and forth a lot, you know. So it was. I've always just wanted my own little hobbit hole that I never had to move away from, and like have like a group of friends that I've known for like 10 years, 20 years, whatever. I've never had that. I have like one friend that I've known for that long, and a couple that I've known for a long time. But you know, friends would be like an overstatement at this point in my life. But you know, like that's what I try to avoid other people having to go through. You know, if I can help you avoid having to spend all your money on art school, and you can learn how to do it here, you know, why not, right? If I can save you $1,000 for a lesson, why not? I can. I can do it. Like that's the thing. I can do it. So why would I not do that? I'm a good human being. You know, like anybody that has any freaking like empathy towards anyone else struggling would not want to see them struggle. Right? Like it bothers me sometimes when you don't see anyone like sharing or collaborating, or when the selfishness hits within the strike, the like whole ego, the whole like it's just sometimes it just gets to me sometimes. It's cool to learn and draw in a sketchbook. Absolutely. It is one of the coolest things that I've ever found in my life, and I do it a lot. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go off to TikTok for a little bit so I can sing and like, you know, like be goofy and just like enjoy a little bit more. So I'm gonna draw one more page tonight. And then I'm going to, hey, Hey, stop licking my wound. No. No, 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 no. You don't get to... No. Get off it. Off. No. You will not become a were-dog with my blood. You are my warhound. Okay? You can't be chasing my blood. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Talk to you soon. Hope you guys learned a lot. It ended up being a lot longer lesson than I thought. It ended up being an hour. But hopefully it's still informative and everything. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys have a lovely day. Okay? Later. Bye.